Hi everyone, and welcome to InnMind channel. Today we are going to talk about crypto marketing, specifically about marketing with KOLs and influencers for crypto and Web3 projects. This is the topic that worries every first or every second Web3 entrepreneur. Today we have Katerina Han. She's a co-founder and for the moment, Chief of Marketing at Skill Labs, the company that is doing amazing on-chain analytics of different games and DeFi projects. And Katerina, for years, was doing influence marketing, KOL marketing, negotiating with the best KOLs and influencers, tracking their results, statistics, and what they bring to the projects with whom they work. Hi, Katerina.
Hi, Nelly. Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me today. Yeah, I'm super happy and glad to join you and share some knowledge and experience and some latest changes happening at KOL marketing at the moment in crypto. And so I would start with a sneak peek of good news. So guys, like several weeks ago, we I guess like everyone is super pumped what's happening at the crypto market at the moment. Everyone saw Bitcoin and Ethereum price, and you see that the market it's not back to what it was like a year and a half ago, but it's kind of more active. A lot of things are happening, and it's not boring at all. Like I guess 6 months ago, Elon Musk said that I'm bored, and it was the sign maybe of the bottom of the market because nothing was happening. So after Pepe coin just I don't know hit how many X and percentage in growth, everyone is super pumped of what's happening. A lot of threads, if you Google it, if the bull market is here, like a lot of people they're totally sure, they totally agree that the bull market is here, and we're back to this phase where everything is growing, everyone is becoming a crypto millionaire in a day or 2 weeks at maximum. My opinion and opinion of us as a project is a bit more conservative at the moment. We saw some spikes and some like active phases and periods at the market several times during this bear market period. We do not consider at the moment that it's a bull market. I would be happy to be wrong, to be honest, but like we are not there yet, in my opinion. But what's happening really great in KOL marketing, as you know, there are so many projects that actually boosted and grew super fast in DeFi, especially for the last several weeks. I can name several like projects like Camelot, like Velocore, just to name a few. And what's happening there, the first thing that amazes me every day, these projects, they actually raised thanks to their community firstly, and most of them they raised not on a classic launchpads, but on their own websites or on Camelot's platform, which is actually I think that it exists for like 6 months, 7 months. So it's not big launchpad like GameFi, like Polkadot or something else that we knew 2 years ago. And the second thing is like they relied solely on KOL marketing. And what I like about KOL marketing in DeFi, at the moment, there are, I would say, up to 100, 150 English-speaking KOLs and several hundreds of Chinese, Korean-speaking KOLs that are driving the market. And we saw several examples where, if the project onboarded 20, 30 KOLs, and they're like forcing and pushing the news about upcoming public sales, upcoming product development and release, these products and projects get a lot of attention.
When you say 150, 200 KOLs are driving the market, you mean DeFi market specifically?
DeFi market. I'm talking about mainly DeFi market, because at the moment, DeFi is the most active and the fastest growing sector of crypto, in my opinion, in terms of releasing new projects. When we talk about GameFi, there are still a lot of like hundreds games that are under development. Games are releasing like every month, every week still, but the pump is not there already, and yet it's not back yet. But DeFi is super pumped at the moment. And what happens at KOLs marketing for DeFi projects? As at Skill Labs, we have our marketing branch, and we help some projects to sign KOLs, to approach them, to set up a campaign and prepare visual materials. And not only, we do talk with the KOLs, we also bargain for the projects we help and so on. So good news is 99% of DeFi KOLs are ready to work for tokens, at least as a part of their fee. Last time it happened, it was more than a year ago. So it means if they agree to accept tokens, it means that they believe that the token will not be dumped in a very second TGE happens. They truly believe that the token has its utility, and it will be priced more than they get at the public price. Usually they get the public price. And as well, the good thing number two, the share of the token is increasing. So 2-3 weeks ago, most of the influencers hardly agreed on something like 15-50, 15 stables and 50% in tokens. But lately we see that 60-70% paid in tokens is also a great deal for them. And when I talk about influencers, I just want to mention we use some tools to evaluate the Twitter score. Twitter score is calculated based on the stats like views, like likes, retweets, and reposts, and also on the quality of the followers they have. If they have 100% of bots followers, their score will be close to 0. And if they have someone who is also key opinion leader, like Elon Musk or CZ or someone else, or founders of the projects, VC founders, or someone like Nelly and an InnMind Twitter profile, it helps you to increase your score. And when we talk about these influencers who are okay with token payment, we talk about influencers with score more than 200, 300, and 400. Just for as an example, Elon Musk in this specific tool has 1,000 score. So they have almost 1/5 or one half of Elon Musk's score, which is cool. And for example, one of the influencers we signed just a couple of days ago, he has 443 score out of 1,000. And he, among of his followers, he has a lot of great KOLs as well, great founders, great VC guys, and also CZ is following him. So for us, it was a great sign that the market is coming back to something not to the bull market stage, but the market is coming back. The market is now more focused on what useful you can bring. And just for you to know, these QLs, they really do care about their own reputation. They do not sign, they do not accept all the projects that that approach them. Because I've seen myself, how some of the projects which do not look reliable, who have registered their Twitter a day ago and don't have any Discord, and the founders are not doxed, and all these different red flag signs, each of them is not a red flag, but if you tick all the list and everything is present in this project, these influencers, they do not usually accept tokens or stables from projects like this, because for them they are building their reputations. They were there a year ago, some of them were there 5 years ago, and they do understand if they promote something that will scam the users, something that will just gather collect the money and disappear, it will hurt them painfully, and they will get less trust from the community, from the audience, and so on. But good thing for projects who are here for long term, who are here to build something great. And I do hope that only this project or founders and people related to watch InnMind channel, you can start bargaining and offer them your token. And I think that if it continues, you will be able to sign influencers for tokens only. The next step would be to sell allocation in your token, like it happened in 2021, but I'm not sure that it will be here in May or in June. It's for later stages, but it's one of the really cool signs of how the market is recovering. And for me, it's also a great sign that DeFi and a lot of projects in DeFi, they truly found their product market fit. They do help users to solve their problems, various problems, and they do offer a solution which is valuable, which which helps them. So that is why people are okay to buy tokens, to pay for the allocation, to participate in public just on their project page. And yeah, influencers here, they're getting more and more weight in promoting, in helping to spread the word, in endorsing the project's credibility. Because if you don't use a publicly known and well respected launchpad, you need to have another force that is helping you to get your credibility. So that's the latest changes of the market of KOLs at the moment. For me, it's super, super cool. And the projects that we work with, they're super happy about it as well. Same goes not only to English-speaking KOLs, but also to Chinese and Korean markets as well. Interestingly, this KOLs, they started to accept tokens much, much earlier than English-speaking guys. The structure is more or less the same. It's close to 50-50, and I guess you can rearrange it to 60-40, 70-30, and so on. Even the KOLs with huge audience, like, up to 1 million. And if we talk about 1 million, it looks like they have real 1 million followers, not bots, because the stats and the score are crazy. The problem is, like, for me, that's my bad. I don't speak Chinese and Korean, and I can't evaluate the content, but I can see the reactions, the number of comments, and if you check, like, people who are commenting, you can see that it's a real person standing behind it, and so it's absolutely the same. So, like, the whole KOL marketing for DeFi can be done with less investment in stables, more in tokens.
And is it the same for
yes.
Russian and Spanish-speaking KOLs, which is also quite big markets?
The thing is, like, I'm a bit skeptical about Russian speaking KOLs in particular, because we have experience negotiating with them lately as well. Most of them are still on stables, and they're not ready to negotiate. They are ready to accept partly payment in token only if the project has some really, really solid bakers, like, A16Z. But just usually, if you have A16Z as your baker, you probably won't be interested in paying someone in stables, because influencers will be standing in line wanting to promote you for your token, for featuring as your ambassador, and so on. So that's, the demand supply is not balanced in Russian-speaking KOL community. Same goes to Spanish-speaking community and Portuguese-speaking community. If we talk about Latin America, they're also it's uptrend there. They are accepting tokens. They're back to to all these soft agreements and so on. Before that, it was just like, send me stables and I will promote. And what I also like about it, influencers, those who left, let's say, like, this bear market was tough, and not everyone actually survived. Not everyone just crossed the river. And those who did, in general, they are, I'd say, the most risk open on one side, and on the other hand, they also do take it seriously, their career as a KOL seriously. So they are not promoting rug pulls, they're not promoting one-day projects and so on. And they are super involved into content creation. For example, how we help our partners and clients, we do share an article about the project. And after that, the KOL sits down, asks the questions, and I can see, like, very serious approach to what they do and what they are paid for. And then they come back to you with a draft of the thread about the project, like, 15, 20 posts, like in a thread on Twitter, with banners. They ask for visuals, they ask for links, they ask for specific information. So if they are there for tokens, it looks like they're taking it more seriously.
It's like mini marketing companies, right? Each KOL, like mini marketing company that takes it seriously and also thinks about content, visuals, and everything. Wow, that really also sounds like a big change since the last bull market. I mean, I remember that even when KOLs were buying KOL allocations of tokens on the bull market, nobody cared much about content. And founders even had to control if the KOL shields their project at all after taking allocation, because some could easily forget to do it without reminders.
Yeah, I guess the bull market back then, it was like such a FOMO driven market. So, like, everyone was trying to get involved into as many projects as possible. At the moment, they are more, thoughtful, and they're providing the content. They are open to do an extra mile. We already sign a pack, like, an influencer has to provide 1 thread, 5 posts, like, X number of retweets and so on. But they are super happy to help the project to grow more, but which is understandable. They have tokens as well. So, like, they are super happy if the token price will grow and they will get more money. They will, they will see that their own push and results, their own push and efforts actually resulted in them getting more money, which is super, for me as a, project representative, it's super cool. It means that you get them onboarded. If you pay in stable, it's not working for everyone. It's not for everyone. But in general, they do not care because they actually got paid in stables. Nothing depends on your token price.
It's like in PR, when you just make the promo article, sponsored article, usually media do not care about traffic and everything. They care only about the placement. They sold you the placement and then you are there, do whatever you want. But if it is the original article where your company is integrated as a speaker, as a reference or whatever, the journalist really and editorial team care about traffic, about how interesting this article is, and so on and so forth. Sounds something similar, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's why, like, for example, we usually do not recommend our partners and our clients to buy this article, like, to buy it just to for the sake of being mentioned at some newspaper and so on. We do understand that, regional PR, classic PR, it requires more effort. It requires a lot of preparation before you get the first mentions, the first comments, the first article, and so on. But it will be so much more generic. It would be so much more, helping into building your own brand. So, like, you cannot even compare it. Like, and also the things that usually cool media, they openly post that it's sponsored article, and it means that, in eyes of your investors, in eyes of your partners, everything is like super clear. Everyone knows how much you paid to be mentioned here and so on. But if you get something more original, something more relevant, because you appeared as a speaker there, not because you just paid, but because you have relevant experience, you have something to say, you're a product expert, it's one more brick into your reputation, into your own brand and a brand of your project and your company. But I guess that's classic, and that's all-time repeating history. When something is at super early stage, as the whole crypto, like, there are always will be people that want to get there fast, but versus people who want to build something as a foundation and want to change the industry, to change the world, to change, like, how it works. And I see right now that, that the crypto is changing, like being here more or less from 2018. So, it's more than 5 years in general. So I see, like, how it works. I saw this all ICO and all stuff, then IDOs, and I see, like, how projects are changing the scenery of public sale, and how they do keep everything in their own hands, how they want to manage everything, and they don't want to get this 1 minute of fame, but want to build, strong relationship with the community. I really like how it's changing, and I do really hope that what's happening in DeFi, the best thing will go to the other crypto segments, like, GameFi, like infrastructure and so on, because it's more about long-term vision rather than a short-term wealth making.
Coming back to KOLs and influence marketing, you just mentioned that the fact that KOLs started accepting tokens means that they are interested in long-term success of the project, and also triggers them to participate more with their more motivation. Question here. When a startup gives some tokens to KOL, what about vesting and cliff periods? Are KOLs demanding specific conditions, shorter vestings, zero cliffs to exit faster, or KOLs accept the conditions on the round? Same for VC investors, for example.
Some of them do ask for, special terms and conditions. Some of them are okay. It depends on each KOL. So with each and every KOL, like, for our partners, we sign a separate SAFT agreement. So I'd say we are not there yet. So they would agree on like, the same terms as VCs and so on. But we're close. So we saw that, some of them are okay with 3 months cliff, which for what's happening in the moment and like the current market situation, it's a good sign how they, believe in the future of the project and so on. Some of them for sure want to get 100% vesting at the moment of TGE, which means that, if they see the signs that they need to sell, they will sell. But in general, what I see overall, token allocation for QLs is usually significantly less than 1.1% of the whole token supply. If all of them will get, 100% vested at the moment of TGE, if your project is healthy and your tokenomics is like, well designed, it will not influence your token price, because at the moment of public sale, you will get much more than 1/10% of your tokens available. But also you could see, and negotiate with them, like, how they treat and how they work with your tokens. You can also discuss at the moment of public sale, like, as if you as a project okay to purchase the tokens, it's also could be negotiated. And some of the QLs are ready to sign, much longer deals than 1 week or 2 weeks. They're okay to sign like, monthly or even a contract for several months, which means that they are there like, for, I'd say a longer run, and they on board with you. So just to sum up, the terms and conditions are super different. It depends on the project, on the stage of the project. For example, if you have only your DAC and you're planning to have a public sale in a week, I guess like 100% of the KOLs will ask 100% vesting at TG. If you have working product, if you have your audience, if you have your community, if they see that your product is actually solving some of the problems that users have, they are okay to negotiate and reconsider some different options.
And when should a startup start reaching out QLs? This is the question, I think, that worries a lot of founders. I see many founders on very early stage, even pre-MVP, already bothering themselves with thinking, okay, where to find QLs, how to agree with them, how to make the contract and start shielding my startup, and so on and so forth. So what would be your advice?
I'm a bit conservative here. I'd say, like, in the very beginning, I guess I'll get a lot of hate, but I'm this person who believes that you need to start building a product first. To get your users to talk to them, they might be your first ambassadors. So that's what we call, like, nano influencers or micro influencers, because they are not influencers by profession, but they have some, some friends, colleagues, and people they know. And if they like your project, if they like your idea, if they are okay to test your MVP, they will be the most loyal and the most helping ambassadors within their own micro communities. And I would say that, the first task for you is to find, that the problem really exists, that there are people who are facing this problem and ready to pay, or at least to use your product to solve this problem, and focus on them. And if we talk about, like, big influencers with a great audience, like thousands and 100,000 followers, CZ among them, and so on, I would say that there are 2 different ways how they come to your orbit. First, if you manage to sign top tier VC like A16Z, you will get, I don't know, number of requests, so they would like to be your ambassador and so on, and you will be selecting among them and so on. But as we know, A16Z doesn't invest into all the startups in a crypto environment. So if you're not that lucky, probably you'll be this side that will be approaching top influencers and asking them if they're open for cooperation and so on. I would recommend, if you're planning to have a public sale, that you start approaching them like 6 weeks in advance, because usually negotiating and bargaining, it takes a while. I would say it takes from 1 to 2 weeks, depending on also what is amazing and what surprised me every time, depending on working calendar. For example, we worked with the Chinese market, and the last week for Chinese market was completely lost because it was Labor Day and they had long holidays. And even crypto influencers, they were on holidays. They went to their grandma's home and so on. So, like, they were lagging with responses if you compare it to any other week except like, Chinese New Year and some other holidays in China. So you need to keep that in mind, that if it's Christmas week in Europe, for example, and you're working with European influencers, there also will be some, lag in responses. We all people, we all have grandmas, grandpas, and all these things in families and with friends that we want to keep in our life moving and going. So yeah, 1 to 2 weeks to sign all of them. And at the same time, you should start working on your content. So all the influencers will get the articles, some FAQ, will get more technical specification about the projects and the product itself. So they could start creating their drafts and their piece of content themselves. If we talk about massive push, it is usually recommended to start it within 7-10 days before the public sale. So like you sign them 6 weeks in advance, they start creating content, they start following you, they start liking your posts. It could be some sporadic posts from the influencers, but all of them should be ready steady 1 week before the public launch. And like at day X, they have to retweet, share, and post the original content about your project. That's what is happening at the moment in DeFi market. And after that, or every day before your public launch, you have to have at least one piece of original content in your from your influencers. Usually they also follow each other. They do tweet and retweet. That is why you organically get more attention, more views, and more chances to get more audience to the project. And what's super interesting, like the day of your public sales start, they all do one more push all together. And since the first day of the public sale, usually it lasts for I guess 5-7 days. There could be some exceptions, but in general, it's like up to 7 days. So during the public sale, they should post original content every day. So like they should retweet your posts, they should like all of the posts that you post during the public sale, they should post their original content. And the thing is, it's better to negotiate and talk with them what timing is the best for their own audience, because your influencers could be from all over the world, like, from China, from US, from Latin America, from Europe. So they know when their audience is more active. So they have to handle it on their side. It's ideally, it shouldn't be you, all time checking, what's happening there, because it's quite complicated, especially if you onboarded more than 20-25 influencers. You need to calculate likes, retweets, quotes, and posts, and to get the stats and to gather it all together in the file. But yeah, and the final push, it should be the final day of your sale. So they will be promoting how much you actually succeeded to collect and so on. And the last one should be the piece with your future plans, with your roadmap, with what to expect your community you do, what will you do next, what would be the next feature you would release within several days. And since you close the public round with the help of the influencers, you are actually becoming even more accountable, because they put their reputation on stake for you, for your project. You are accountable to them, to the community that actually believed in you and provided you with some money, and also to all the future users that will be using your product. So I would recommend not to stop immediately your cooperation with influencers the last day of your sale, because they need to be there. They need to to finalize forming this credibility of your project even after the sale ends. And there is also a negative scenario. Like we saw several projects who actually did not manage to collect money enough to close the soft cap. And it means that, the project will get, will send the money back. So, and the project will 90% likely closed and shut down because they didn't manage to get money for the next several months or years to make the product, full in life. And in this way, it's even more important. So you get your KOLs on board, you talk to them openly and honestly, you say hi guys, didn't happen. Life sucks, life happens. And you should provide immediately the whole piece of content that they have to share with their own community. And also, like, with all the steps and dates and timing when you will be sending money back to those who actually send you some funds. And the influencer should also add some message using their own tone of voice, saying like, hey guys, it happens. We wanted this project to succeed. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. The project will stay and will update you, what is the next steps. We'll be there. You can always ask like us as ambassadors. We're like in touch with the team. So in case of, unsuccess, it's even more important to stay in touch with your influencers, to get them onboarded, and to share the news firstly with them, and with them try to navigate during this quite hard period. So it was quite long answer to your question, like, when you have to sign all the influencers, but say like it's minimum 6 months before the 6 weeks before the public sale. Ideally, you get some of them approaching you in the very first weeks of your product, because some of them might be just personally interested in solving one of the problems that you're solving, and they even can be your advisors and beta testers, alpha testers, not just influencers getting money for sharing what they think about your project and like, some news.
Guys, I think you already understood yourself how knowledgeable Kate is in this specific topic. And personally, she's the most knowledgeable in KOL marketing person among all people that I know in this industry. I still have a couple of questions, Kate, and let me ask it today. But guys, reminder, if you have questions about KOL marketing remaining, leave in the comments your questions, and I will ask Kate to come to read all the comments. And if there are enough interesting topics and questions about KOL marketing or other aspects of influence marketing, we will make another video in a week or two to continue this conversation. But coming back to today's discussion, what you described so far sounds like first KOLs are becoming more mature business as it is, and same as Web3 startups, Web3 VC industry is evolving and also becomes more mature. KOL sector also becomes more mature with certain rules, with certain black and white aspects and frameworks to work. But it also sounds like from the startup perspective, you need to have not only enough money and tokens to manage KOL marketing, but also enough resources in-house. I mean, it's not just about having your marketing team in place, ready to prepare all the articles, visuals, etc., but also enough human power in a startup team to onboard KOLs and negotiate with KOLs, follow up with KOLs, control KOLs, talk with them on regular basis, and check the results. So from your experience, Kate, how big this resource, in-house resource should be? Is that enough to have just one extra person in the team responsible for KOLs and influencers?
I'd say it depends on how big the team of KOLs that you want to onboard. Like, if it's up to 25, 30%, I'd say that one KOL manager is enough. In case you also have resources and expertise that you can use in terms of copywriting, creating visuals, and so on. Because otherwise, it will be this specific person managing all this KOLs relationships and so on, also creating content, checking the copyright, checking the visuals, and so on. And we know how time consuming it is, despite the fact that, a lot of people say like, okay, it's just Twitter post. Like, why do you care so much? Like, why does it take so long? But like, guys, to just try to create one nice banner and try to put everything in Twitter size limit, like, yeah, all the questions will be out after that. And also it depends on, how many weeks in advance you start working with them. Unfortunately, at the moment, and it's I guess it's a curse of all startups in Web 2 and Web 3, usually we remember that we need a KOL the moment when it's too late, and you have your public sale in 2 weeks, and you need to get 50 KOLs from this specific market, and ideally it would be cool to get 30 KOLs from Chinese market. And the problem is that it's already quite late and only miracle can help you. And it might be that so you need to use some extra pair of hands or even two pair of hands. For example, in my case, I do not speak Chinese and Korean, so we ask another agency to help us with negotiating and translation mainly, because everything, all the rest we can navigate ourselves. Google Translate and all this Grammarly and ChatGPT actually helps you a lot here. But when you start negotiating with KOLs who don't speak English and I don't speak Chinese, it can be an issue here. So as I said, if you have one audience and one common language, English or Spanish, whatever it is, it's okay to manage up to 35 KLs. If you have some tech tools, for example, like CRM system and something is also connected to Telegram that helps you to follow all the notification and so on, it might be okay even to handle up to 50 KLs. But the problem is that, usually even if you work with one specific language, with one specific market, the KLs actually stays in several different time zones, because thanks to COVID and remote job, they live all over the world. And like I myself, I manage most of the KLs, but I also have an assistant who helps me with negotiating with KLs who live far, far west, because they usually ask me something super urgent when it's 2 a.m. here. And I just physically cannot be 24/7 online, and they need to get an answer, because otherwise when I'm awake, they already out of their laptop or they stop working and so on. And also want to mention that some mature KLs, they have more or less something like work schedule. So it's 5 working days, and Saturday and Sunday usually are not that active for them, mainly because the Twitter algorithm and the stats and the audience behavior on Twitter shows that everything you post on Saturday and Sunday gets significantly less attention. So they do not usually work and are not usually that responsive on weekends. And for you to remember that if it's just 2 weeks before the public sale, top influencers already have everything scheduled several weeks in advance. If you want to get them on board, you will have to accept maybe that you will be one of the 7 projects that they are promoting at this specific moment, and you probably will get lost and you will get less audience attention. Or if you start much earlier, if you prepare your content plan and your content strategy, you will get more chances that you will get prime time, you will get more of the audience views and so on. So it's better always to have KOLs rather than not, but it's always better to start in advance rather than just 2 weeks before the public sale. And it would be cool if you have at least half of the time of a dedicated person to talk with KOLs, because it's not just sending them content and just asking them when they are going to post. It's all about personal relationship. You should always remember that there is a person or a team even behind this specific Twitter account, and whether they will be happy to cooperate with you later, whether they will do an extra mile, an extra retweet, an extra like, an extra mention, depends on how you manage this relationship. Otherwise, you will just get what you signed for, and that's it. That's super important, and that is why I think that you always have to have a dedicated person. Or in general, it's super cool when founders are super actively, cooperating and negotiating with the influencers, because none except the founders know till the very, teeny tiny details what the project is about, what is the vision, what is the, key details like, killer feature that might be implemented or might not be implemented in the future, and how the product and the project is different from the competitors. And it's super cool to get this firsthand information and first-hand impression of where the project is going, and to share it with KOLs. The more people you have in between the founders and the KOL, the less exact might be. It's not always works like this, but there is huge risk, and especially in startups, everything is chaotic, everything is mess. And founder said that, and then if you had several people, 5 people before this influential information gets to an influencer, that probably might be something valuable lost or misinterpreted.
Yeah, we saw quite a lot of cases like this when founders hire it's not even the core team. They hire specific people, not obligatory without enough experience for KOL management just before starting talking to KOLs. And then these people are kind of lost and just share information between KOL and the founder, being a bottleneck or something like that. So very, very important stuff you highlighted. And another question, I think a lot of founders who do not have experience working with KOL question how to reach KOLs. I mean, majority of people do not have a Telegram ID of KOLs, right? Or even if they got from somewhere, they keep silence. They do not reply messages. So how to get KOL at least talking to you and discussing?
That's a very great question. Like, the moment we started trying to approach KOLs ourselves, like, for our own content creation at Skill Labs, it was, I guess, 90% just my monologue on Telegram with someone who never replied. And like, I think that my advice is like super direct and super evident. So I continued pushing till that moment on Twitter, in comment section, via DM if DMs are open. And I actually made sure that, I'm sharing not only some texts or messages, how great the project is and like, how cool we are, but I also sent some links, some media links to content we created, our roadmap and vision and so on. And some updates when we raised some money from the investors, so they could see that we are here for long and we do get attention of VC investors. It helped us to get first response from a KOL, and then it works like magic. Usually it's someone who has at least some connections among other KOLs. And you say, okay, I have a referral bonus for you because I'm super tired of texting. It's like one-way street. I'm texting and texting and texting. And like, okay, we are happy to give you some token allocation for every successful deal we sign with an influencer that you refer to us. And in this way, you get him or her onboarded, and they know how to catch attention of a fellow influencer. And also, like, almost all of them, they have already Telegram IDs of each other. It's much easier for them, and they do trust each other much more than, some girl or guy who are texting out of the blue, sharing like, the content of about the project and so on. And after that, after the first, ice is broken, is much easier. For example, we have a batch of influencers we work with when we help the projects, and right now it's not a problem for me at all because we have a long history of cooperating, working together, and they know that we always fulfilled all the obligations. We deliver what we promised. We always paid in time. We always provided content. We always there when they have some questions or like, some comments and so on. And for some of the projects, we even get some comments that, it's not always 100% clear if we are on a project side or influencer side. But for me, it's super important to keep this relationship stable and healthy. It's not like, trying to treat someone like you own them. If you pay influencers, they can always send you money back because they have quite a lot of projects standing in a queue. And you need to respect what you agreed on. You need to respect that, if you have some delay in your content provision to them, it's better to send like, hey guys, sorry, we have some, messy deadlines and stuff, but we will send you the text of the article, not today, but tomorrow. Sorry for that. It's much better to say it in advance rather than say tomorrow when you promised at the moment where you didn't deliver, but hey guys, we forgot, we had some issues, we had some problems. So that approach allows us to to keep in touch and stay in good relationship with influencers we already work. And if we need to get some bigger boost, I always send to my influencers saying like, okay, it's a quite open deal. The terms are the same for all of them. If you refer someone who haven't worked with us before, we always are ready to give you an additional referral bonus. And they are pitching to their fellows, they're pitching to their friends, like, if they would like to join the project. But to break this first obstacle, I don't have any other advice. If you don't have money to, to pay the agency or someone else, you just need to push and do it like, stubbornly every day or like every second day. That's how it works. It doesn't work like, they will not open their message section on Twitter and I don't know, go down for several months ago and open your message. No, you should always be in the first top 20, 30 messages. So you need to find out, how to get their attention. So that's how it usually works. And especially this referral system for influencers works much, much better for those who don't have their DMs open. And there are some of the influencers that even have this, who DMs me first, they are scam. So yeah, in this way, you need to find someone who knows these influencers, who is good relationship with them, so they would sell your project for you to this person. And finally, it happens. So I'm sitting just in front of my laptop and some chat in Telegram appears and like, hey, you ask for him. So that's the person you asked. He is ready to talk. He is ready to discuss. Like, let's jump in and discuss. So that's that's the only advice how it might work and might work successfully.
I love this idea about a referral fee for influencers to bring other influencers, and I didn't expect it works so well. Wow, that is really cool advice. And just, you mentioned if you do not have budget to pay for agencies, does it make sense to pay for agencies in this case? I mean, there are so many agencies that sell KOL services, but it's not always unquestionable what do they deliver after.
First of all, you need to create, some very specific document of what you expect to get from this cooperation, like, the goals, the number of the KOLs onboarded. You might even have the list of preferred KOLs. And if for example, as a founder or like, marketing person, that you don't have time to send this, 30 messages every day to negotiate and just to try to get and reach them, and you want just to get them like in 3 days, it's cool to have someone helping you to do that. I always recommend to ask for, some recommendation from your fellow founders, from VCs that you have onboarded and so on. But also you can talk with several agencies and check the approach. For example, we do not call ourselves agency because it's not our key business. We just have an expertise and experience here. We do not charge any money before we have a list of KOLs the project like, and we have them saying, okay, we're ready to discuss this project, because they first read about the project and then they are ready to discuss whether they can find common ground, in terms of fee, in terms of what's the expectation of each of the side of this cooperation and so on. You can always ask for them. We saw different approaches, like, some agencies don't even start working or approaching influencers before they get paid. In this way, for me, it's super hard to say, like, how do you measure the effectiveness? They might never get back to you with the list of KOLs. But in this case, you can also discuss, some fixed fee for agency remuneration and some, flexible part depending on the results, like, how many top influencers from the top list they managed to bring you and to help to sign. So it could be like, X stables or X tokens for each influencer signed. And I know that a lot of founders are super skeptical about whether they should pay to the agency or not. I'm always on this side that recommends, okay, go and sign 5 top influencers yourself. Try to reach them, try to, to negotiate with them and try to get your stuff signed. And then you can actually easily calculate how much time you spend on it, how much effort, and was it successful or not? Because, like, in many cases, you just don't get their contacts as well. You will spend several hours of texting them, of creating content for them, trying to catch their eye, but it will be like, 0 results. And then you just calculate, like, what could you do instead of doing that? Like, you could be raising, you could be building your product, you could be creating some useful and cool content for them, and ask someone who already have some contacts and past experience working the KOLs just to bring them to you. As I said, like, everyone is free to do what they like, what they want, and what they consider right for their project. But just, you can just shortcut. And my philosophy is, if I can save my time and my efforts and my attention focus on something else, something more productive or something more, result bringing myself, and I can pay not huge amount of money for something that a person knows better, gets more expertise, gets more connection, and so on, I'm happy to do that. Like I'm super happy to find someone who is better than me in each of the things that I'd like to get done. So I guess that's how founders and the managers work look like. If you don't have money, you always can do it yourself, and that's totally fine. I was there. We as Skill Labs and like some of our friends and founders were there, and it also can work. It's just like the question of your time, and we all have 24 hours in our day. So like the question is like, how we delegate and how we distribute our time.
So it's not a sponsored video, but guys, we will definitely leave Kate's contact details under the description of this video. So if you want to reach her out, ask personal advice on the QOL management, and ask Kate and her team to help you with QOLs onboarding, especially if you are in DeFi or GameFi sector, since these are two main focuses of Kate's approach during the last couple of years, then feel free to reach her out. The links will be in the description. And of course, if you like this video, don't forget to put like and subscribe and share with your fellow founders. And if you don't like, you can keep it for yourself.
The biggest thing and the best news is like, you can start again talking about token fee and token payment for KOL services, and that's a really cool sign. And yeah, if you want to get some consultation, we do have 30 minutes call for free, absolutely, with the projects that might consider to work with us or to ask a couple of questions. Yes, that's absolutely no fee for that. So we'd be happy to help if someone might consider to work with KOLs in the nearest future. And yeah, we're always there.
That's perfect. So, Kate, thanks a lot for your pieces of advice today and for sharing this great news. I think a lot of founders have their hearts right now beating faster, hoping that this is a huge sign of the positive market changes. Indeed, the QOLs are the guys who smell the trends on the market very, very well. And if they are accepting tokens, most probably right now the market goes in the positive direction, let's say diplomatically, without too much shilling.